Hello students, welcome to this online course of strength of materials. So in the previous lecture we have started our derivation for the torsional equation. So the first relationship we have derived in terms of tau and g was there the shear modulus and tau was the shear stress. So tau by r was g theta by L. Now we will try to relate these terms to the external applied moment. So this was the relationship which we have derived. This is tau by r is equal to g theta by L. So let us move forward. So this internal stress will be the external applied load will be balanced by the internal stress developed, and we have seen like when in the case of torsion the applied moment the developed stress will be shear stress, because whatever deformation is there it is along the surface. So along the surface the stress is called as shear stress. So the equilibrium condition can now be used to relate the shear stress tau to the applied torque T. So with the help of equilibrium we can correlate these two terms. This is the internally developed stress and it will resist the externally applied load. This is the equilibrium. So applying the equilibrium condition, so if this is your dA, small is any small element, it is having an area of dA, and if the developed torque is tau, so the force will be dA into T, and resulting torque will be resisted by this force. So the internal torque will, this is external torque, it will be resisted by the internal the torque developed by the internal resistance. So this is the force and this is the distance. So in this manner we can see how the equilibrium condition is helping us to derive the equation of tau and T. So if tau is the shear stress on an elementary area dA, this is shown in the figure, dA is here shown, distance at a distance r from the center of the shaft. So the internal twisting moment due to this force will be, this is dt is equal to tau dA into r. Now the total integral resisting torque can be this is not integral, this is internal. So total internal resisting torque can be obtained by integrating this expression over the whole cross section area. So what we can do, this is for the smaller area dA. So for like we have to derive for the whole area. So over the area, total area is, let us say, A. So integrating this term will give us this final equation. So which we have replaced the value of tau in terms of r, and finally we are having g into phi integral r square dA. So what is this r square dA? This we already know, this is IP, or it is sometimes shown as J. This is the polar moment of inertia. So till now we have seen in the bending equation it was the second moment of inertia or moment of inertia. Now this is polar moment of inertia. So in the mechanics subject we have already seen this in detail. So this is nothing but the summation of the any two perpendicular, mutually perpendicular, the moment of area about any two mutually perpendicular axes. So generally it is Ix and Y, so Ip is given by Ix plus Iy. So these things we already know from the from the subject of engineering mechanics. So in the moment of inertia chapter we have discussed these things. So I am directly using this here. So r square dA is nothing but your Ip. So hence the torque is equal to G phi into Ip. So this is the internally developed torque. So it will be equal to the externally applied torque to remain the body in equilibrium. So from here we are having an interesting result, that is T by Ip. So phi was theta by L. So we have replaced that by that this phi as theta by L. So T by Ip is equal to G theta by L. So finally relating both the equations, what we are having. So previous equation was tau by r is G theta by L, and now this G theta by L is equal to T by Ip or J, whatever you want to say. So this is, you can see it is quite similar to the bending equation. So let us see a little comparison between the bending equation and the torsional equation. So this is our torsional equation, this is the bending equation. So here you can see this is the externally applied moment M. Here it is externally applied torque. Here it is moment of inertia, here it is polar moment of inertia. So the moment of inertia is coming into picture on which the whatever surface is going to resist the external applied moment. So here you can see if this is the torque, this cross section is going to resist this torque. It will not allow this torque to deform it. So that is why the moment of inertia about this axis, about this surface is coming into picture. While in bending was along this axis. Okay, so this was the deformed section due to the externally applied moment. That is why there that the moment of inertia about that particular axis was coming into picture. So these are the similarities. In examination they can ask you to compare both the equations. So G is modulus of rigidity here, and here it is modulus of elasticity E. Here the deformation will be in terms of theta because the stress developing is the shear stress. Now and here it was the deformation distance from the neutral axis. Here it is shear stress, here it was bending stress and flexure stress, and the nature of this stress is normal. It was perpendicular to the section. And G into IP, it will give us a torsional rigidity. Why it is so? Because if you will try to compute the theta will be T by L, T into L divided by G into IP. Okay, so this term is coming into picture. This is the torsional rigidity, and if you'll divide it by L, it will give us the torsional stiffness. Stiffness we already know, it is the force required to cause a unit deformation. It can be angular deformation, it can be linear deformation. So in the case of torsion, it is a angular deformation. Similarly, E into I is the flexural rigidity, and also EI by L is the flexural stiffness. So in this way you can compare these two equations. Okay, now let us try to derive a very interesting equation of the maximum shear stress develop. So two cases are possible, either it will be a solid circular section or it will be a hollow circular section. So hollow means here nothing is there, it is a void, nothing is there, only this is the solid, yellow region is the solid portion. Okay, so this is capital D is the diameter, here capital D is the external diameter, smaller d is the internal diameter. Okay, so tau by r is nothing but the T by IP. From the previous slide you can see. So IP we know for circular section is pi by 32 d raised to power 4. Okay, so for solid circular section, if we'll put all the values, what we are going to get 16 T by pi d cube. So this is the tau max. In the GATE examination or in any competitive examination from torsion, they will directly use this formula. You have to use this formula and you will get the answer very fast. No need to derive in the competitive examination. Or in the RTU examination also, if they are asking for 1 mark or 2 mark, directly use this formula. If they are awarding like 10 marks, then first you have to derive, then you have to put all the values in the equation. So for hollow section, let us see how only what is going to change. Only the term IP will be changing, because for hollow circular section, the IP of the solid section minus the IP of the hollow section we have to do. So here little bit difference is there. Okay, so in this term directly you can use the formula for tau max. Clear? Now let us see how the shear stress is varying. So what is the shear stress? Tau by r is equal to g theta by L, or from here we can see tau is proportional to r. So this is the variation of r from center. You can see anywhere you can have the value of shear stress, or if you are plotting on the that body only, so on the periphery you can see the maximum shear stress is there, and here it is very. So that is why I was telling you the hollow set, because in this region you can see the very smaller stress is being resisted. So if we are using this material to on the periphery, so what we can do, we can increase the value of maximum shear stress resisted by the section. So that is why hollow sections are used in place of solid circular sections. So in this manner you can directly say, like for hollow section, here it will be minimum, here it is maximum. So tau minimum will be proportional to d, and tau max will be proportional to capital D, whatever is the outer diameter. So here it is tau max, here some value is there, it is not 0. 0 is here but it is not existing, that is why I am not showing here. Clear? So the questions we are going to start in the next lecture. So this is all for today. Thank you.